And welcome to the third half live from Bingham Cup in Rome. I am David Cameron Donaghy here with Butu Matthews, outgoing chair of IGR. The third half is proudly presented by Gilbert Rugby Canada. Butu, so we're having the first day of play today. So far, how has your experience been in Rome?
My experience in Rome, David, has been just fantastic. How can you come to the city and not love it for the people, the
Yeah.
food, the atmosphere, and the weather's been fantastic. Seeing the sights, going to the Colosseum, walking the streets, eating gelato and pasta here. So we went to the Vatican, the head referee and I. And so I've had a wonderful time. And then, getting together with the community for our AGM and our captain's meeting and the referees meeting, they've all been fantastic leading up to now. It's always been my experience that once you get all those administrative things done and the play begins, everything vanishes and we're all about the rugby.
Well, you mentioned the AGM, so we've got a new chair coming in.
Yes.
Um, Very exciting. Madison Dennison was
Madison
elected.
Dennison, the first woman, first non-cis man to head IGR. What a fantastic
Well,
development for us.
I mean, making a huge statement for IGR as a whole, having a trans person as the head of what will probably become international or inclusive global rugby.
Yes, obviously Madison is just super talented. I think she's a rock star. She has a fantastic vision. Her skills are just superior, but she's just a wonderful person. And for her to lead IGR at this critical juncture, when we're fighting against sexism, against transphobia, actively fighting, against racism in the sport, for justice in the sport, I just can't be prouder of IGR and of Madison for stepping up.
No, I think it's going to make, I, well, it actually probably already has made a huge statement internationally, especially with the influence that IGR has. Now, we've got first day of playing happening right on either side of us,
Yeah.
as everyone can hear. Last night we had the opening ceremonies. Amanda Mark made an amazing speech and an amazing opening kind of comment. How was the ceremony for you from your perspective?
For Amanda to open the opening ceremony was appropriate and beautiful, and her speech, like you said, was just it touched on some very key points. The fact that we held that opening ceremony on what would have been Mark Bingham's 54th birthday,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
um, you know, if if Mark is looking down at this event and seeing that this is the largest version ever of the largest tournament, and it bears his name, right? What an amazing legacy! And for Amanda to talk about that emotional connection that Mark has with this community, that this community has with Mark, and with Alice, his mother, and what we can do from here on when we gather every 2 years to celebrate this community and his legacy. It was wonderful, and it was exactly what we needed to hear.
No, absolutely. And it was just, I mean, I love the fact that she said that he would be having just such a party with, it's like, there's something named after me about rugby. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, what are you looking forward to with this edition of Bingham Cup?
You know, one of the things that I have really been interested in and I've been focused on with IGR is justice. And Libra Roma are a very young team. And for this community to trust that team with hosting our flagship tournament shows how much we believe in justice and how much we believe in expanding this game into areas of the world where LGBTQ rights aren't necessarily front and center. They may be there codified into law, but the society may not necessarily be all on board with us, right? So we are looking to see how this tournament will impact rugby in Italy, at least in the Rome area. And we would love to see an expansion of this game there, especially expansion of this game correctly.
Yeah. Um, Well, you're going to be reffing some of the games, are you not?
I'm playing.
Are you playing?
I'm playing on the Chicago Dragons second side. My team in Chicago came here with exactly 15 players on their second side and reached out to me and said, "Hey, we need an extra body." And being an old boy, that's the rule. You never let your team play one person down. And I said, "Okay, yeah, I'm not going to let you forfeit this tournament. Not after you spent all this money and all this energy training and getting here." So yeah, count me in.
you're
So the referees are not happy about it, but I'm pulling triple duty here as IGR chair, referee, and player.
So you're reffing as well.
I'm refing as well. They just we'll see how this 48-year-old, almost about to turn 49-year-old body holds up. We'll see about that.
Yeah, no. I mean, the last Bingham I was, last Bingham I played, I was your age. So, yeah. And that was a few years ago.
Oh, so Amsterdam, that was not too
Yeah.
far away. You'll be fine. Just come back.
Do you have any favorites out of the gate for any of for any of the teams, any of the different, either on the Amanda Mark Cup or on the Bingham Cup side?
My default rule is you always have to go with the defending champions, regardless of, right? They won it for a reason. Ottawa Wolves for the Amanda Mark Cup, King's Cross Steelers for the Bingham Cup. You always have to go with the champions and presume that they will be there. They're not going to want to give up that championship easily. But in terms of contenders, I know Nashville women made a really strong showing in Ottawa 2 years ago, and just barely lost to Ottawa Wolves. So I know that they're going to be gunning hard. Nashville women are going to be gunning hard for Ottawa Wolves women for the Amanda Mark Cup. And quite frankly, on the men's side, Sydney are always perennial contenders.
Yeah.
They've won five or six editions of this tournament.
Yeah.
I have been particularly impressed with how Boston have come on. The Ansides, 10 years ago, we were all concerned about their viability as an organization. And yet, when I refereed the grand final in our North American Championship last year in Charlotte, they really made a strong showing. And I always say this, as a referee, I have the best seat in the house. And when I have to manage very little of the game, except for saying a few things here and there, I know a good game is happening. And I was just tickled with how well Gotham Knights from New York and Boston Ironsides played against each other. And Ironsides unluckily turned out to lose that game. But then just 5 weeks ago, they hammered Gotham, right? So I think they're going to come into this tournament as a surprise dark horse. Gotham will always be contenders. And I think Manchester Village Spartans, perhaps the Brisbane Hustlers will also be contending hard. I won't discount to win our French team, our best French team in this union. I think they're going to advance very far in this tournament.
Now, you mentioned the Ottawa Wolves and the Amanda Mark Cup. How many female sides do we have for this edition of the Amanda Mark Cup?
This is a double-sided sword, right? Because we have more women's clubs at a Amanda Mark tournament than we've ever had.
Yeah.
Yet we only have 7, right?
Okay.
And that sucks because nobody, chair of IGR included, should be able to recite all 7 all the names of the teams in a division. Yet I can do that.
Yeah.
Ottawa Wolves women are the defending champions.
Yeah.
Nashville women, Dublin, Amsterdam, Berlin, Munich and Vienna have a combined team, and Les Simons a combined team from France. That's your seven women's side. IGR need to expand in women's rugby, and we're the trustees and I sort of made a really great focus this past year. These last 2 years, I attended the Women's Rugby Conference in the US, and IGR started to build our community there. It's really baffling to me that here's an entire community that have been inclusive and integrated for as long as they have, all of women's sport, especially women's rugby. And how much do men's inclusive sides, especially in IGR, owe to the women who have coached us and who helped us set up our bylaws and who helped us with administrative stuff and helped us with refereeing, helped us learn the laws. And yet our community does not have those teams here.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things, folks, that all of you should know if you're watching this is IGR tournaments are open to women's teams regardless of whether you're IGR members or not. So I don't know if that's actually news out there or if people know that but I hope people do
I didn't
realize.
actually know that.
Yeah. So we have a local team here in Rome that expressed interest, but I have no idea what happened. They are not playing here. But when we hold our North American Championship in Boston next year, we're working hard to bring all the regional teams in to play in the women's division. And well, when we hold our European Championship in Oslo, now here's an area where of the world where rugby isn't a popular sport, but IGR are working with the Norwegian Rugby Federation to not only expand rugby over there, but to emphasize women's rugby. It's a fact that there are no women's teams in Norway that play 15s rugby. They only play 7s rugby. And there are
Oh
maybe
wow.
7 or 8 men's teams that play 15s rugby throughout all of Norway. So we've made a special dispensation to allow men's players from Norway to men's teams to come and play in Union Cup, and we've expanded the women's division to all, not just of all of Scandinavia, but all of Northern Europe. Whoever want to come and play in Oslo, please come and play in Oslo.
Um, Now we have a special match happening. Actually, a couple of special matches happening on Sunday. We've got our first trans matches in the Bingham Cup. What is your take on that? What are you looking forward to seeing coming out of that?
Um, so this is going to be the first global, um, you know, all trans, all non-binary people, all gender diverse people playing full contact rugby union. The first ever happened last year in Charlotte at IGR's North American Championship when we demonstrated to the world that regardless of gender, you can have safe, fantastic competition. And guess what? Nobody got hurt.
Amazing.
Oh my God, nobody got hurt, right? Other than the normal tackling, and I saw some hard tackles happen right in front of me. So we were trying to make sure that the referee for that match also belonged to the gender diverse community, but the referee who was assigned to that ended up playing a double overtime match. And so everybody turned to me. I was there at the sideline and said, "Hey, you're the chair. Go really referee the damn thing." So I refereed the first half, and what an incredible honor, right? To be on that field to kick off that match. And I saw some solid tackles happen. I saw some solid play happen. I saw fantastic organization. I saw fantastic discipline and rugby IQ. And again, no delicate cisgender people got hurt. Maybe some bruises got, like, some egos got bruised at other places, you know. But here we are proving that rugby can be done correctly right from the beginning, right? This is inclusive design from disability rights that we've known about. We've
Yep.
always said if you design something correctly from the very beginning, troubleshooting doesn't really need to be dealt with. There's a little bit of troubleshooting, but you don't have to then refurbish and redo everything because you designed it correctly from the beginning. And that's what IGR is trying to show the world of rugby. If you design things correctly from the beginning, you can eliminate all these biases and the safety concerns. You can take care of all that right from the beginning. And we're going to demonstrate that on Sunday here when the All Trans match is streamed live thanks to our partnership with the Rugby Network. Is
Uh,
that okay if we talk about them?
Absolutely. I was just going to mention that we've got matches happening live streaming on Rugby Network. Um, what are you looking forward to with that partnership? Like, what do you think that's going to do for IGR?
Let me kick off that answer, right, by first saying that the the CEO of Major League Rugby, which owns the Rugby Network, is Nick Benson, who played for the Washington Renegades and coached them.
Oh,
Our
outstanding.
own IGR team when he was in Washington. Now he's now based out of Salt Lake City, and in terms of Major League Rugby markets, when he and I met, I said, Nick, Salt Lake City is the only Major League market where IGR do not have a presence, and so we would love to start a team in Salt Lake City, of course, to make that happen. But huge thanks to Major League Rugby and to the Rugby Network for making that happen. Um, the streaming of these 3 matches was donated by them. This is no cost to us. This is very little cost to us, and so we're not also expecting any revenue out of it. But the fact that we now have a global partnership through which we're streaming our brand,
Yep.
and when you see the grand final of the women's division, the grand final of the Amanda Mark Cup, the grand final of the Bingham Cup, and the world and the all trans match, the world are going to see what rugby done correctly looks like.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, this Bingham Cup seems to be breaking a lot of records, or a lot of records. I mean, we've got record attendance. What was the number again? Number of
3,560 participants.
that's
3,560 participants.
that's incredible. Like
It's,
that's just it's mind-boggling that people slept all the way to Rome for that.
it shows the impact this community has had, right? I could certainly sit here. I'm already crying internally, but I could certainly the tears would flow if I started talking about why rugby is so important to me, why IGR rugby is so important to me personally. But my story is echoed. The details of my story may be unique, but thematically, it's the same for so many people. That's why we schlep. We're all professionals in our own work. This is an organization of volunteers, but we schlep all the way to different parts of the world every 2 years because this community and this sport have given us a home. In many of our cases, literally saved our lives, and that's why it's so important to us. That's why 3,560 people have shown up to Bingham Cup, have registered, about 2,800 of whom are players. The closest next tournament I can think of is Can-Am Games that happen every year in Lake Placid and Saranac Lake. Wonderful tournament, involving Canadian and American teams. They have about 1,000 players coming there, but Bingham outpaced them long ago.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
um,
2,800 players in Rome.
yeah,
That's incredible.
yeah, and the rest are supporters, their families, their plus ones, coaches, trainers. I can't say enough about trainers. You heard this at the opening ceremony yesterday. The most valuable people at any match, at any tournament, are our physios, our athletic trainers, our medical personnel. You all do fantastic work to keep us taped up and going, even after all those little hurts and aches and whatever else, all the serious stuff that happens. You take care of us. Thank you so much. But the rest of the participants are all those people, all right? And where would we be without our coaches and our supporters?
Yeah. Now, what would be your wish for a legacy from this Bingham Cup? If there's to be one thing that continued on and that this tournament was known for, what would it be?
I hope the one thing people take away from this tournament is the courage to send this tournament to places where you don't normally associate with rugby, right? It'll be easy for us to send this tournament to rugby powerhouses. And yes, we absolutely have to send it there because we want the guarantee of quality rugby with great accommodations, great travel, food, everything else taken care of. But those things can also be done with the proper supports in countries that we don't necessarily associate with rugby. Italy is the first tier one nation in
Yeah.
men's rugby, right? But they're all amazed when we have 7 women's rugby teams competing here because they don't normally see that. We're taking Union Cup. We're taking Union Cup to Norway, where Oslo. They don't have women's teams playing full contact with teams rugby,
Yeah.
right? So we want to have, we want that's got to be our legacy.
And with you as outgoing chair, what are your sort of last words as not only as chair for your tenure that you had, but for the next board that's coming in? Kind of word of advice.
You know, Madison and the rest of the trustees are going to do a fantastic job. We have a new constitution that we will present to the community very soon at a special meeting. Um, because when the old constitution was written, 10 years ago, IGR had I think 54 clubs. Today we have 120.
Yeah.
That constitution was written in a way that designated the 7 trustees to also be the managers, and that certain things about it are not fit for purpose anymore. We've
Yeah.
just outpaced that mandate. We've outgrown that constitution, and so we wrote up a new constitution with the help of Stone King LLP, law firm based in the UK. We purposely made sure that the 2026 Bingham Cup would go to an underrepresented area of IGR. In our case, the region of IGR known as the rest of the world, which is Australasia, Africa, and South America. And we have 2 fantastic bids from Brisbane Hustlers and Ciervos Pampas of Buenos Aires. That legacy needs to be continued, right? And our trustees know that. We have this possible new revenue deal coming in to give us the financial muscle that we need to secure IGR's future. The trustees are all aware of that. I don't need to tell them anything because I was just another step in
Yeah.
a long line of what's going to be a healthy organization. Um, you know, I don't see IGR as entirely depending on one person. It's important for us to have continuity and organizational strength
Yeah.
so that we can keep going. And I'm so tickled that Madison is going to be leading IGR, and that IGR is going to be in very safe hands.
Oh no, absolutely. And I mean, I like that you brought up the Brisbane Buenos Aires bids, because on Saturday we are having the chairs of both committees join. We've got the Hustlers, I believe, joining in the morning, and we've got the Pampas joining in the afternoon. So don't forget to miss that. Um, any any last words for people watching that couldn't be here about Bingham Cup 2024?
Oh, we wish you were here. 3,560 people. We're already like amazed, and we're working so hard to make this tournament happen and be a fantastic experience for everybody here. We really wish you could be here. We miss you, but please don't forget to make plans for 2026 when this tournament happens again in either Brisbane or Buenos Aires. And if you don't have an IGR team club in your area, contact us and we'll help you start one. If Please recruit as many women's inclusive sides who believe in our values and share our values to join us. We want to grow this organization. We're an international organization. We're not confined to just one country. We may be based and registered in the UK, but we are all over. Thanks to the protections we enjoy in the UK, we are able to expand throughout the world. We want strong teams in the African and Asian continents. Most people don't know this, but we have about 15 teams in South America.
Yeah.
But because of economic reasons out of their control, they're not able to always attend our tournament. And that's been one of the strong selling points of Buenos Aires, that they want to show the IGR community the kind of IGR community they have there. Brisbane are strong, steadfast members, faithful members of this community, and they have an excellent bid for hosting the tournament. These are two very strong bids, and I couldn't be prouder of this community and what we've all achieved together.
No, I mean, especially this being my fourth Bingham, it's to see the evolution over, that 8 year period is impressive. And like you, I'm proud to be part of it. So, thank you everyone for joining. We'll be back this afternoon at 17:15 Central European Time with Amanda Mark. So don't miss that. And until then, with you.